Let's fucking go. It's another episode. Ooh. It's another episode of the Runners Club podcast. We back. We in here. We doing it. Episode umpteenth, you feel me? Of season 2.
Umpteenth.
Umpteenth, yeah. That's actually might be the name of the episode. But this is Ian Gonzalez, your co-host. I am with the wonderful, the glorious, the ever bright Courtney Phillips.
I'm glad we're here again.
Good.
Yeah.
We feeling good. I was just telling her I woke up hours before this episode so I could be in a great space. You know, I ate, had some chorizo, some plantains, some rice and beans. You know what I'm saying? For breakfast this morning. I hydrated already. I'm ready to go. I spent quality time with my boo this morning via FaceTime. So I'm feeling good. I'm ready to fucking record. Let's go.
I'm actually surprised that you said that you normally wake up right before we record, because I envision you as a morning person. Because this morning I struggled. I struggle every morning because my alarm clock is for 6 a.m. every day during the week. And so I struggle between the hours of 6 and 6:30, fighting for the half of me that wants to stay in bed and the other half that's like, no, girl, get up and go to the gym. At least get some cardio in, raise your heart rate, do something. You know, so I was at the gym this morning, and I have to admit, though, that I don't feel like I'm as hydrated and nourished as you. When we hopped on the call, I was eating Oreo Thins.
Recovery.
So I did have a smoothie, a protein smoothie, but then I had some tea and I was like, you know what? These Oreo Thins look good.
Looking good.
So I had to cop some.
Awesome. The holy grail of vegan snacks.
Right. I just been craving cookies. I was at Target yesterday and I'm like, something led me to that aisle and I was like, well, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I love it. No, I'm not a morning person. I have just been forced through bad, poor decisions in my youth to have to wake up at 7 o'clock for majority of my life, 6 a.m. majority of my life. And now that my son is 16, I have a hard time getting up. And it's really only because I'm not. I know this is a running podcast and they supposed to be speaking to runners, but my life in running lately has been very tumultuous. It's that's not even a word. That's not how you say that word, but it's been, you know what I'm saying, hard. So, you know, if I'm getting up early, it's usually to work out, you know, lift a little bit and, you know, try to get up and run and stuff. But lately, most of the time I ain't been getting out of the bed till 8:30 in the morning, which is really kind of late. And then on Thursdays, I don't be trying to do shit before this podcast. I've tried a couple times and it's too much. And so I lay up. I be laid up. It's 9:30, 7 o'clock. There's
no shame here though, because there are runners who run in the morning, midday, and, you know, afternoon, evening, you know.
I hate even running.
But I'm saying that's for some people. So, and I think that there's an assumption that all runners are early birds, which
right.
I think, to an extent, it can be true, especially when you're training and you need to get in a certain amount of miles before the sun comes up and it's blazing hot outside. But even then, I've heard runners say that they'll just do it at night sometimes when the sun goes back down and it's cool, and they'll just put their little light vest on with the light show going off. And
right. The little thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Shout out to Nia, because she be posting about that, especially in the winter months when it's dark all the time.
Yeah.
So no shame. I'll just say that I'm tired.
It's okay. We're gonna give you our energy, sending energy through the Zoom, through the speakers and stuff like that. We're gonna charge you up. But also shout out to the fact that it is now officially bike season.
It is.
I have been riding my bike. My bike has been yo, fuck you, bro. I'm not going to work as easily as you think I'm going to work. So I've had a couple of days where I'm riding and my left hand is just like black as hell from the chain. You know what I'm saying? Having to put the chain back on. But other than that, man, I rode through the rain last night. It felt so good. Oh my God. I forgot that coming towards my house, like in Washington Park, like it's like this one part of the road where it's really low, but it is really a long, gradual incline.
Okay.
And I forgot about it because I've been walking it I've been walking it, not so much running it.
Yeah.
And it was like I felt it in my thighs. Like it was like, this is a hill here. And so
feel the burn.
Right, feel the burn. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to doing my speed workouts around Washington Park. So like 60th to 55th, around 55th, and then just do like the little park. Because I think there's a couple inclines because your boy is coming back this year. I'm coming back with the fucking speed this year. I am coming the fuck
speed
back.
On all levels, runner, biker, speed walker.
Just all of it. Listen, I got my buoy and my goggles for some open water swimming.
Period.
I got all of that in the lake. I got all of that. It's happening this summer. Like no game this year. It's happening.
You know what I got in my Amazon cart right now?
What?
A swim board and the swim, like the little buoy thing. Not the buoy that is you put your stuff in. I'm using the wrong words, but the thing that you like put between your thighs or your like ankles, so that you can like not move your legs and have something to hold on to, but then move your arms and make it an arm workout.
Swimming workouts.
Look, but I used to do this when I lived up in Lakeview and used to go to the CAC, Chicago Athletic Club. Like I used to, they had all the equipment. So I didn't have to think about buying it. But now, I'm over here on Southside and at, you know what I mean, LA Fitness.
Right.
Shouts out to them. But they don't have all the equipment. So I have to just buy it for myself. So I am really actually excited to get back into doing these types of workouts that are very more targeted. Because I do find myself sometimes just like floating around in the pool because that's also fun. And I enjoy that as well. So
Courtney asked when to get swole with this swimming. Jeez, she's gonna have a back, nigga. Like
it's already coming. Do you ever stand in front of Karen and just be like, do you see the progress? Because like some days, like yesterday, I was feeling it and I was looking in the mirror like, let me just double check. So I had to go out into the living room and be like, Matthew, do you see my back right now? Do you see these arms? Do you see my thighs, bro? He just be looking at me
jumping
like,
over that couch right now, nigga? Like, how are you this calm?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I asked Karen that all the time, and she was like, no. I was like, oh, okay. My clothes say different. Fuck you.
I'm like, you don't see this transformation right now? Right. I need you to be my eyes.
Right. My 14-day transformation, nigga. Like.
Period. Yes. Well, so look, okay. This, we be doing our intros, but we also be having guests, and our guest for this week has just popped into the chat waiting room. So let's get into that, and always remember, send us your listener letters. We'll remind you at the end of the podcast, but I'm just going to plug it right here just in case you don't get to the end of the podcast and you don't know. Yes. runnersclub773@gmail.com. Comments, thoughts, love. We accept it all. Also, follow our podcast, give us some ratings, show us that you love us.
Yeah. We need affirmations. We need tangible love. Okay.
Show us. All right. So
likes are like likes and subscriptions are like hugs. And yes. We need more.
We need more. Follow us on Instagram, Runners Club Podcast. Okay. All right. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. And our guest today has been a guest before. Yes. But we had to have him come back because, the Boston Marathon happened last weekend. And my man has several things going on. He's the mayor of Boston, as far as I'm concerned.
Love it.
Sidney Baptista, welcome into the podcast.
What's good, family? I'm so happy to be here. I'm sad not to see the two of you here in Boston, but I saw so many of your people here in Boston and they were just having so much fun. And I know that they're going to go home and tell the stories to make you come back next year. So
Yes, man. I was like, when you text me, I was like that Kevin Hart joke, man. See the way my checking account is set up.
Right.
I check instead of savings. You feel me?
I was like, next year, I got you.
But it looked like Boston was lit. Like, it looks so good watching the stories, watching everybody's feed and timeline. It looked like you really, really, really made Boston exciting this weekend. And I don't even know where to start. Do I start with the store? Do I start with the true Boston Marathon? Like, do I start with the events? Like, where do we go? Like, lead us, take us down this path, bro.
It's very exciting. So this is actually my first opportunity to reflect, to be honest with you. And I'm actually super excited to do it live with y'all because I've been just nonstop from like Wednesday of last week to Tuesday of this week. And then Wednesday was my first day off in like 20-something days, like 26, 27 days. So I took the day off yesterday. So it's my first time to really think through and reflect. So it's going to be really cool. I think we should start with just kind of, I guess, the space. I think the space was a huge component of having a successful weekend. Hey, let's just talk about Boston coming back full time, right? Because the last time we had Boston, it was in October. The last time we had a full Boston was 2019.
Right.
But then 2020, 2021, it was like October based. So it was the same weekend as Chicago.
Yeah.
Hence why I had to come to Chicago the week before to see y'all. But it was like, half to a quarter of, probably closer to 30% of the field was here in October. And we had a pretty successful Boston Marathon weekend, but I didn't realize what we were missing until this year. It was like, wow, this is out of control. It was like, so Boston back full time was a big part of it for sure.
Of course. And y'all had the full field. Everybody was out there spectating, cheering. Yeah. It was back to pre-pandemic fanfare, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it felt just like that too. It didn't really feel like, it's almost like kind of forgot that the pandemic was a thing, other than being in shock of how much was going on, because I guess we hadn't experienced it so long. Like, it was just normal. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I do want to say, before we get too far, for anyone who's not familiar with you, can you just do a quick little synopsis of like who you are and all the brands you got going on, all the things you got going on in Boston?
Sure. So my name is Sid Baptista, born and raised in Boston. And I created a running community called PYNRS Run Crew that was created to diversify the running community in Boston. I'm from Dorchester, which is predominantly Black and brown area, where I grew up, where I still live. And so after getting into running and becoming a running coach and becoming a Nike pacer and then a running coach for the Heartbreak Hill Running Company, which the Heartbreakers are in Chicago, working with Dan and Justin. I was like, it's time for me to bring running. I was like really struggling with getting people to come join me to run, in the parts of Boston where I was running, which is the predominantly white areas where running was normalized. So I brought running to my neighborhood in 2017. And since then, we've just really been just doing things to answer or to fill the gap of what's been missing. So everything we're going to talk about today and everything we've been doing is just to fill the gap of what's been missing. So the first was to create a running community. And then the next was to create our own marathon because, Boston doesn't, the Boston Marathon starts in Hopkinton and runs through all the rich, predominantly white neighborhoods.
Yeah. Right.
And communities, not even neighborhoods, but towns.
Does it even go into Boston at all? Does it end in Boston?
It finished about a mile and a half, about 1.2 to 1.5 miles in Boston.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and so, yeah, that's what I do. And then I created, and it's a marathon, and I created a running apparel company to serve the community that we've created and the types of communities that we create. Or I think PYNRS Run Crew, and I know PYNRS Run Crew is just Boston's version of Gumbo Fit, 7onSundays, and wherever that type of community lives around the world. And so we wanted to create an apparel that speaks to that culture, that community, those people that we serve.
Yeah. And I would suggest our listeners, if you haven't listened to the first time we had Sidney on, Sid goes into detail about just the quality of this apparel line. It's not merch. It is like, it's giving Lululemon, but even better. You know, it's giving all of the vibes. So I just definitely go back and listen to that if you don't know, and also support. We'll put the link in our description and obviously on social so you can check it out.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what I've learned this weekend also is people walk in and they touch the fabric and their eyes light up, right? And I'm like,
yeah,
you know, it looks good on social, it looks good here and there, but like, I think we've talked about this before. People don't expect Black-owned companies to have really good products. But then on top of that, we also have to be better. We have to have better fabrics than Lululemon to be able to make money, because we also do, you know, take it back to like Black and brown people got to work harder and do better.
Twice as good.
It's got to be twice as good. So I can't come in with fabric that's not better than anything else, because people will just think it's, you know, whatever. But
well, can I just give a testimonial as a customer? Sure. I bought a hat. I don't have all the gear, but I bought a hat, and that hat it really carried me through the winter. Merino wool, like softer than any of the other hats that I've had. Like the sweating was not an issue, because if you put on those cotton hats, it like kind of sits on you, like on your forehead, and just doesn't really go anywhere. But that hat, I think Matthew and I have gone back and forth about like who's wearing it when, because it's great. I very much like care about maintaining it. And I'm like, I need to get the other colors, you know? So it's good. All the products, I think, I want to try like the leggings pretty soon. You know what I mean? I'm trying to budget out. I don't usually buy. I have to admit, with being in connection with Nike, I haven't bought stuff in a minute. So
exactly. I know. Courtney, Phillips, come on, I'm not spending money on product. They just give it to her. You know, kind of a big deal. So I definitely understand. I've been in your shoes. I don't purchase stuff. We're blessed to be able to be leaders, and the brands want us because they want our people, right? So they give us stuff.
Right.
But it's springtime and it's time to buy. Like it's springtime and it's time to refresh the options we have for running. And I mean, like, I think it's definitely that time of year.
The funniest thing though, is that the partner, I think I might have even mentioned this to y'all before, or in the DMs to either Matt or you, whoever's wearing the hat at the time. It's the couple, like couples and partners, they fight over the product, right? Like anything that's a unisex. So a couple stories. Ashley Davies out of Seattle. Her crew is Club Seattle Runners Division, CSRD. She bought a sweatshirt. Her husband took it. So wow! Right. I bought the joggers. My wife takes my joggers. Like we share our joggers, and then like the hat. All the partners share the joggers. It's crazy because everyone feels like, "Yo, this is too good." So
yeah,
I don't want no smoke, man. Right. Me and Karen are nowhere near the same. So get your ass out of my joggers.
Right.
No.
And then there's another homie this weekend, Joe Shine from Teamwork in New York. He bought a pair. And then he came back and bought another pair. He's like, nah, I don't want no smoke with my fiance. Like, we're both going to have our separate, because that's how good it is. Like, put them on and like changing my life. So he came back and bought a second pair, same size for his fiance. So funny. But the partner duo over the product is a thing. So I might have to do some social, like I have to do something funny about that, you know?
Yeah.
Because also
energy.
Shouts out to your wife too. Because her on social media has really just given us all of the energy we need, you know, just like the dynamics of you two working in your office, like, and just also your beautiful child. Like, I'm a fan. I'm just going to say that.
Thank you. She hates it. She's not a social media person. She doesn't even have a social account, but now I think she's done with it. But it was good while it lasted.
The TikToks were great. I just have to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So you are there right now with the material you had. Is this legit just pop up, or is this like a full on like store? Like are you there forever now?
So we'll start with the space and go through the weekend. So it was big for us to be able to put together a space, because I think, like I said before, being a Black-owned business, people second guess you and doubt you, and so like. Have a space where people can come experience the product, experience the community in person was super important. So what we did is we took a space for 30 days here on Newbury Street, which is, I would say like Mission for y'all, like where all the big brands are, like Rolex, Ralph Lauren,
Cool.
That's
all
major.
those. What other store? All the big stores, yeah. And then on top of that, all of the running brands, they came and did a pop up on Newbury Street too. So Asics, Brooks, Puma, a couple other CLA, a couple other ones did their pop ups here. So people were like, "Oh man, you're on Newbury Street," and it was one of those things that kind of pissed me off a bit because I'm like, people started respecting what I was doing because I was on Newbury Street.
Right.
Not because I put my own money up, not because I created this product line that's really hard to do, not because it's like really dope, but because I took the final step and put it somewhere where the hype is, the clout. So it kind of pissed me off a little bit, but it was okay. People were just like, then they realized it. People came from all over. So
they realized you're not playing.
There's always going to be that population.
Not
always.
People don't take me serious. That's one thing I've learned. People don't take me serious until I do it. And they're like, oh, okay. So yeah, I'm not playing you. You're right.
And then they ask you how you did it instead of paying attention to the process as you were doing it, trying to tell them what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 30-day pop-up and I can give you a tour if you like.
Yes,
please. Yes.
If you are listening to this in your headphones on Apple, on Spotify, you are missing out. Go to our YouTube page, the Runners Club Podcast on YouTube. Check out this tour that we are getting of the Pioneer Shop.
I'm going to start here. So we got.
What's the square footage? I'm curious.
Probably 1,700.
Okay. Wow.
But we got some dope photography in the space. So I'll start back here because it's kind of like and it's kind of a mess. God. So I apologize.
It's not a mess.
So
this is a fucking store.
A whole store. The glass is the floor to ceiling glass is in the lighting. Come on now.
I'm doing some shipments, so that's why that's there. But it's a nice blue couch. The DJ was set up here this weekend, but the DJ equipment's gone except for the speaker.
Right.
So it's kind of like a void area right now. But it was like the DJ was right there, and the vibes was everywhere.
You got a lot of products too. It looks like you really filled in your space.
Yeah, no, we did a really good job. So my buddy runs a coffee company called Coffee. So we had him bring his coffee in. We got some sneakers in the space. So we have one of my favorite things is this Run the Culture wall or glass. So we put this vinyl that has Run the Culture, and everyone came in and signed kind of like where they're from. It's kind of like a community wall to like, that's
Wow.
Yeah. So that was dope. And I wanted to make it feel like a streetwear store.
That's the vibe it's giving.
Yeah.
The photography is amazing.
Yeah, I'll show you the photography. So we had our vinyl of our run team right on the floor. Mm-hmm. And so when we had this weekend, we had all our speakers sit here, and then we have chairs that kind of went back that way. Yeah. So it was really dope. And the photography obviously is dope. So I would say that this side of photography is the streetwear side of the product because it's a performance streetwear brand. So we have like the streetwear kind of like dressing it up, dressing it down kind of photography. Mm-hmm. And then the other side is the running side. Mm-hmm. So
that's dope.
Got the running photography here, all that.
Yeah.
It's
beautiful pictures. Oh my God.
So I'll just take a step back out for y'all. I'll give you a view of the space.
The mannequins.
The mannequin, yeah.
Come on now. I'm taking it all in. I see, you got there is really nice decor. Okay, yeah. I love that you stepped down into it. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you enter from the street, you step down into the store.
Pops is always there helping.
What's up? Oh my God.
Doing it big, Pops.
Wow. And then this is the side where we
got a recovery situation
so
going on.
Hyperized recovery, put our 26-point true vinyl on the wall.
Yes.
This was so our book fell because we got a hand fell, but this is our tribute to the Black and brown people that have been murdered by police in this country. So we had a little tribute here.
Love that.
So I was dope, but the book fell, I think, overnight to this past evening. So yeah,
this is beautiful, man. As a store owner myself, there is some healthy and loving jealousy going on right now.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, Ian's definitely taking notes right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the way you did some stuff in this space that I didn't think of. You doing some stuff in this space that I thought of, but you're doing it, and it's fucking amazing. It looks beautiful.
So my little sister came up with the concept. She was like, you should do pallets and you should do big photos and you should do these boxes. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do all that. And then I hired a consultant who's done successful pop-ups. This is the blueprint. And then she just kind of went off and she was worth it. She was like, I think she's like $50 an hour or something like that. And it was worth it. Bad. Yeah. To be able to like give her the blueprint and have her come up and source all the stuff that we needed. Yeah. And it wasn't even like a marketplace, bro. Like the couch, the pallets.
Yeah. I was going to say those pallets are that's a really innovative way to save money, but also still be like different in how you're styling it. Yeah. That's dope.
So that was dope. Yeah.
I love it. So you got the 26-point true, which popped up on my timeline. It was another runner who was talking about it. And the first words out of her mouth was like, you want to run the true Boston Marathon in Boston?
Right.
This is where it's at and stuff like that. And so tell us a little bit about the 26-point true Boston Marathon.
And also too, like, I'm gonna go ahead, but things I'm curious about, neighborhoods, and also how close it is to the actual, like the official sanctioned Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
And like the participants, what that looks like.
So born and raised in Dorchester, Boston Marathon never crosses beyond like Boylston Street here in Boston. So it never went into neighborhoods where I live or where most people of color live. The majority, not most, majority, if not all. Like it's a small percentage of people of color live in, hold on, can you guys hear that?
A little bit. Yeah. And I'll also add too, it's just like living in Chicago, that story is very similar in the fact that it's just like Boston's a very segregated city. Chicago's a very segregated city. So it's like, it gives a lot of the same energy.
Yeah. So basically, that's the reason we came with the concept. And I had mentioned earlier, we try to fill, hold on a second. Pops.
We are living life, running our businesses in real time.
We just trying to catch you in the midst of running a business. It's okay. We get it.
I gotta be here. So, so we created this marathon and then everything we do, what I've realized is when I first started this community, it was like, how do I be like X, Y, Z? How do I do it like this? How do I do it like this run club or this thing? But when I started seeing success is when we started focusing on the need and what we can do to fill that need. And that's when we started flourishing. That's what I realized this weekend too. So 26-point true was like, we don't see the marathon. How can people think they can run the marathon if they never see it? Let's create our own marathon that runs through the neighborhoods where, are neglected. So we started Malcolm X Park in Roxbury. We run by the Malcolm X house. And we go through 13 of the, whatever, I think 15 to 18 neighborhoods in Boston.
Wow.
So we go, and then, so the ones that I know we go through, we started Roxbury, we head towards Jamaica Plain, we go through Hyde Park, Mattapan, we come back to Dorchester, and then we head out to South Boston, into the city, and then we go all the way up to Alston and Brighton, and then come back through Chinatown, the South End, and back into the finish, which is at Malcolm X Park back in Roxbury. But you get to see the city, you get to feel the city, you get to see the different neighborhoods, and what they look like. Some are really desolate, some are vibrant. So yeah, and it's a success. People love it. We got our own medal. People love, and we really just bring the energy, and it's unsanctioned and it's unsupported. But we have 5 cheer zones that are like where we put all our people. It's supported with a bike side so people don't get lost. And we work with Lululemon to make sure to each station is staffed with people and also with energy drinks and tablets. All of the fueling we need.
How do you, I mean, I've done a few unsanctioned races, and especially in the last couple of years, and it was very new to me. But I can't quite wrap my mind around you doing it through the city of Boston and being unsanctioned and not getting checked by the police at all. And because you have a course. And so how many participants are actually doing this? And does it create like any did you get looks from people? Like, have you had any issues?
No, we haven't, because it's a marathon, and so I think we have 26.2 miles. We have 50 people running. So you just at the
50 people. That's pretty. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it spreads out. And unsanctioned means there's a course you can follow, but there's no street closures. You got to make sure you're running on the sidewalks, or if you're running on the street, you're careful. But so there's none of that. So we've never really had any issue with anything. And to answer your question, how close does it get to the Boston Marathon, like kind of where it's at? We do run a bit of it along like a part of the course. And so, like I mentioned earlier, only a mile, 1.2 or 1.5 mile of the original Boston Marathon is run through the city of Boston. So in a nod and kind of to that is we run 1.2 or 1.5 miles outside of Boston in our 26 marathon.
Yeah.
So the homie who created the course, his name's Barack. He's just like, that's what he does, right? It's like kind of one of those things you can do and he created the course to make sure, just the same amount that it is in Boston for the other one, same amount is out of Boston for this. So.
And what are your goals for it? Like, I mean, you're saying that, so 50 runners, that's very manageable, and it's understandable why, like, it doesn't really catch a lot of attention as far as like people trying to check what you're doing. But do you have goals for this? Would you envision like 3, 4, 5 years down the road for your Boston Marathon? And then is it the day before or the day after of like the actual marathon? Great
question. Our goal is to make this a race because Boston is so hard to get into. The Boston Marathon, you either qualify or you
raise an astronomical money.
There's no lottery. There's no, like in New York, you can run all the road races and get your name. Eventually, at some point, we'll run them. There's none of that here. There are some invitational bibs that some people get. Like we were blessed to have a few this year, but 2 or 3 invitational bibs. But it's like so hard and exclusive to get into, and that's very unlikely to change because it's the Boston Marathon. It's just
right. It's coveted.
So what we want to do is we want to be able to say, all right, homie, I think we talked about this before. You got a couple homies who did qualify who were running Boston. Come to Boston, run our race on Saturday, and then cheer your homies on for the Monday. So it's 2 days. And this year we had a homie from Houston. He ran both. He ran 26.2 on Saturday, and then he ran Boston Marathon on Monday. So he got with 2 medals. He's the first to do it. So I'm not saying people do that, but I'm saying come to Boston and give you a reason to come to Boston and do something. If you
didn't get into it, but I mean, you're gonna get a lot of people who are gonna be like, "Dope, I'll do both." Especially in our community, there's always going to be the ones that want to do everything, especially when it was like Boston, Chicago, and like London, all back to back to back. Like, I mean, Shalane planning, that's that whole thing. And I feel like there's always going to be people that are like that.
And I can see people who have ran the Boston Marathon once they hear where the course is and what it is. Like, I can see it becoming like the city's race. Yeah. Like if you in Boston, like the Boston Marathon is going to end up becoming very touristy. Like, oh yeah, this is what people outside of us think, we are. But in reality, this is the true Boston Marathon. I think the name is a self-fulfilling prophecy, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So the goal is to keep growing it, but not to the point where we have to then put some restrictions and closing and then having to do all that. I think we always want to keep unsanctioned. I think that's just the culture we come from. We don't ask for permission. We just do. And so I think the goal is to keep it that way and keep it open and keep it accessible. We don't want to put any of those restrictions that make it exclusive in any way possible. That's not the reason we got into this. But we do have to be mindful that it could be something that gets hella big, too big.
Yeah, too big. I love it. I love the energy. But that sounds amazing. I saw I saw there was a few other activations. I saw Allison Desir out there. I think what she did a reading from her book and everything. Was that in tandem with you guys, or was that just something outside of it?
So she did a lot. Allison's, she does a lot, but what she did for us and what I love about kind of what we created. So we had a space, and the space was like home base for us, Pioneers Run Crew, people who are in the culture that we've created. Like I said, the gumbo fits and the 7onSundays and the crews in other cities. They were able to just come, drop off their bags, have a spot for us to feel comfortable in, close to everything else, and then get some treatment, right? Getting that. And so that was a big part of it. And then being able to host our own events, the welcome party, kind of like, get to know the city. And then the biggest event that we had in the space that was really dope was our shakeout run. So that's when Allison came, and we started a shakeout. Our shakeout was longer than most shakeouts because we wanted to get to Black Boston. We wanted to get into the neighborhoods where you can see some people of color.
Right.
So we started here at the space. We ran 2 miles out to Nubian Square, which is where the Black Lives Matter mural is. And then there are a bunch of other Black-owned businesses over there. And in the middle of that, we paused there and had a meditation that was led by Alice, just to kind of set our head straight. And I actually didn't even get to go to it because I had to run the space. It's the other thing about being a business owner, you can't just do it.
Yes.
And so they led the meditation there. And from the experience that people told me, it was like phenomenal to be able to be in that area. And like for the first time, a lot of people's first time really seeing that part of Boston.
Yeah.
And then we came here and we held a panel discussion just about running culture and the culture that we created. And then it was super dope to be able to hold a discussion that was so open and honest and just real, because there were no brands to worry about, talking about things like how do we, as a culture, as a community of people of color, how do we accept brand deals without being, bought out the brand,
compromise,
taking advantage of. How do we make sure we get what we're worth?
Right.
Those type of discussions, talking about working together, talking about just, man, it was just so real. And to be able to have someone like Alison Sayre and then us, Power. I don't know if you guys know who Power is. Power is one of the godfathers of running culture with Bridge Runners, a huge influential guy, and have them two, who kind of came up through the New York running scene together, not have always seen eye to eye, but to have them in the space having conversation. It was the first time in many years that they were like face to face with each other, and to see the magic happen at the panel. There was this one moment where Power, he's about community. He's created this organization, is powering community fridges, plant-based community fridges throughout New York. And Power is just such a community organizer, and he doesn't really work with brands. He doesn't know how to work with brands. And Allison's just like this savvy person who worked with money brands. So my question to her was like, how do you manage all these brand deals that you have? And she goes through, she talks about how the conversation her and Power were having, she's going to teach and help Power with the blueprint to pull money out of these organizations to help what he was doing.
Right.
And to like put it in a way that shows that for these brands to make money, they need to feed and nourish communities of color, because we're going to be the biggest community of people in this country. And it was just so beautiful to watch this magic happen live in front of, this place was packed to the door. People were inside looking. And so to have a space that we can have those conversations and have our people come together is just very, very, I don't know how to put it. It was empowering. It was, and I could see people's eyes. It's like they wanted more of it.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what's happening at other panels, right? I had a panel where I had to go speak. And and the only reason I went is because they paid me. And I'm not leaving my space to go. But I went to speak, and they were asking me, "Oh, why'd you create Pioneers Run Crew?" And I'm like, I was tired of being one of the only people of color in these spaces, kind of like what it feels like right now. Like on the panel live, I was the only Black person in the room.
Right.
And it was like, I'm tired of that. So being able to do this and have it here was special. So that was one of the events that we did. That was just amazing, and I think people took a lot away from it.
I love that. That sounds beautiful, man. I'm really happy that the 7onSundays crew got to pop out, and we had some qualifiers ourselves, and they all got to come and see the store, see you. You know, you hosted them well and showed them, you know, what Boston is and stuff like that. Because I think a lot of us, you know, only see Boston as like a very white place. From the marathon to the culture that we see on TV, and to go to my friends' stories and see the community, the Black and brown community that is native there, but then also everybody who came there to share within that space was wonderful. And I'm loving the way the running community, the national running community is really trending towards more of us, you know, because we got a lot. The running as a sport,
a lot to give.
Could only, it had peaked. It was peaking. It had already peaked, and I think it was at a
peaking
plateau,
in its whiteness. I think
right. So we are elevating the national running scene to a whole nother level. I mean, it's crazy.
But now it's getting to the point where it's like,
we connected.
You know,
the scale is starting to tip, and the floodgates are open now. So it's like everybody sees where, okay, there's opportunity, and I want my value paid for. Like, I'm not showing up for free, and you know, you're not going to take my ideas and just run with them. So it's definitely different.
Because that's one of the things we talked about, is because we're sitting here in this space, but like each of the brands down the street, they all had to cherry pick their one or two Black people to lead whatever event they had.
Yeah.
But they were the only Black people there, right? Like homies were ASICs. They were the only Black people there. Tracksmith, they were the only Black people there. Like, we're co-hosting this event, but like, where are all the Black people? They're in this space here, but the rest of us, right?
Where they want to be.
Right.
Where they want to be, yeah. And so
exactly.
It's really, really, so we all have to be careful with how we do, because the brands are coming. They're going to be coming for thing, and so we got to make sure that we get what's worth and everything. Give me one second.
I mean, it's very similar. It's very similar to the conversation about, you know, the Grammys versus, you know, the BET Awards. It's like let's not, you know, there's room, there's checks, there's all of that all of these benefits to going in and being a presenter or a leader at the ASICS pop-up, at the Nike pop-up and stuff like that. But I think there is a greater reward to being, you know, having us as a preference. You know what I'm saying? You know, but then also using whether it's our own money or the money of the corporate partners that we have to also, you know, pay each other and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we all got responsibilities, but making sure that we're building this community and this like economic platform where we can support each other in very tangible ways, whether it's out of love, monetary value, and everything that we need to continue to build this community, you know?
How do we pull from the system to feed the stuff that we're doing, but by keeping authentic and building what we need to survive? And
exactly.
Ownership is like the biggest part. If you don't own anything, then it's always going to be us relying on the system. So that's a lot of what we talked about during that panel too. That was exciting.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, let us know if there's any other way that we can support you. I know you're in, you know, you got a store to run, so we won't hold you too much longer. But I guess I would love for you to just give some advice to anyone who is finding your story inspiring for their own city. And because I mean, you mentioned too, like, you don't ask for permission, you just do. I mean, that's what we do in the culture all the time. And I'm trying to figure out where my question is and all of that. But if anything, it's just like what keeps you going. Yeah. And then,
so if you're in a situation where you're not seeing enough being done for you, the people you want to serve, just do it. Go, get out, do it, be consistent, be true to yourself, be true to what you want to create. And just stick with it. Are you?
No, saying
yeah. Sorry, got a homie in here. That's what I love about the space. Our homies come and they hang out and they do work and all that. So, do it, start it. People are there. It's not one of those, they will build it, they will come.
Yeah.
But do the work for them to come and keep it authentic, keep it real to whatever you're doing. And that'll be good. And then for me, what keeps me going is just seeing, for me, I've always been a person that's like, it's never enough because I see what the other people are doing. Like we talked about it before, maybe I have a chance to leave the hood and go out and get an education at a predominantly white high school. And that's when I was like, whoa, there's so much wealth out here. Why am I going to settle for a job, for a salary when there's so much wealth? And for me, I'm watching these brands come up, cherry picking our people to be influencers and to then use that to sell back to our community. It's like, we can do this. It's going to take me a while, but we can do it. So
I'm still trying to figure it out for last lap. So man, me and you need to touch base, swap some ideas and stuff like that real soon and whatnot. Cause you speaking whole facts.
Yeah, for real. I think a lot of people didn't realize what I was doing until they got here and they saw the space, full experience. They were like, wow.
Nah.
Because
I knew as soon as I put that fabric on my face, I knew as soon as I touched it.
You don't understand.
But, but some people get it away and some people need to come and see it. And then also they get the similar experience up the block with companies with billions of dollars. They come here to us and they're like, wow, it's the same, it's very similar. And we're doing it in an authentic, real way. And it's us, our people. You know what I'm saying? Look on the walls and show you those pictures. You see white folk on that wall?
No.
It's just us.
White folk. You said that's just our country. You see any white folk?
Thing is, right. No, and I resonate with that deeply. So thank you.
But no, it's not, but we're an inclusive space that do have everyone a part of it. But we're intentional about who we are promoting and who we're supporting.
It's a black space. It's a brown space. And that's what it is. And those who are not of our community, who come into this space and understand how to be within it, respect it, and love it. Like I appreciate them so much. 7onSundays is a black run crew, but it's so multicultural. We got people from all walks of life. I got it. It's wonderful, and they understand and they respect it. But Sid, man, thank you for popping on. We got a Boston marathoner in the waiting room ready to come on, give his testimony for him. I know you make Gabe from 7onSundays, who ran the Boston Marathon this weekend. So we got him. We're going to have him, we're going to step out and then have him come back on and give us his update of his race.
Yeah, we always appreciate you.
Yeah. Ask him how he went with us. I would love to hear that. But, as much as you think you appreciate me, I appreciate y'all, just if not more, I think that what you both created separately and together is just so special and kind of a bit of a blueprint too of what needs to be done in other cities. And the show itself is phenomenal. Like I said before, the pre-marathon expo that the two of you put together, or whoever was a part of that.
Nah, that's all her. I just showed up and talked.
So I said, Ian, you come host this? And then everybody goes, y'all did that shit together. And I was like, I'm not going to put nobody down, but I put in a lot of work.
And a true leader in Ian's, and true leader like Ian, he's not going to be, there are people who will be like, appreciate it. And he's obviously. That's why you guys work together well, and that's why he's such a dope human, because he's going to defer and tell the truth about put the work in. But that stuff is very important, and it also inspires me to do more. So I appreciate you.
Well, I look forward to the day that we can all collab on something, do something, do you just let us know if you need a host, for some co-host for the next 26 Point True, we got you. I feel like we can't miss another Boston. So
yeah, it's good. And hopefully I'll have budget to fly both of y'all out, put you up. That's what I want to be, right? Like we had a DJ, one of our DJs this weekend, he's a leader of a run crew. And so that's like, I want people, like we should be able to do everything, you know? And so yeah.
Thank you, Sid. Have a great day.
Peace. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.
All right. So having Sid on here is always my favorite. As soon as we paused the recording, I was like, you're going to be our regular guest and we're just going to continuously check in on Sid. I feel like that's because everything that he's doing is so like for the culture. It's so forward thinking, and where a lot of us see the he's like pushing where the possibilities are within running in a different way. And so I'm here for it.
And now we got this 7onSundays runner,
right?
Gabe in the building,
popped out, and now we're back. Right. We got to hear from an actual runner. Or, I mean, Sid's a runner, but I'm saying a runner who ran the marathon, the sanctioned Boston Marathon.
Yes. With the flyest 7onSunday jersey. This is...
I feel like we haven't even had a moment of actually speaking about the jerseys. You hinted towards them, and then they were released, and then we never actually had a time to talk about it.
Yeah. It was a collaboration between 7onSundays that Aaron spearheaded with, oh my God, his name is not in front of me, but it's Greg. I'm sorry if I butchered it, Greg. I was trying to say his last name like it was his first name, but Greg Itihara, amazing designer, hand painted the jerseys for our 3 runners, one for Gabe, Rosalie, and Simeon. So the images that you see on the 7onSunday Instagram, that's hand painted by this beautiful artist on Nike Aeroswift jerseys, which I can't even print.
With holes in them. Okay.
Yes,
there's holes in these jerseys.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it is just beautiful artwork. And I think Gabe, yours was of who was yours of again, Gabe?
Yeah, the Virgin Guadalupe. So we're just trying to get a little bit of personal, personality in there, but then also those hands that she has when she's praying just scream 7onSundays to me. So
yeah. So okay, Gabe, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. I always say, I feel like Ian is always. I always want to know backstory, because our listeners are not everyone who comes out to our community. We want to at least give you an opportunity to just say, like, why are you a runner? And why? And then how did you get to Boston? Because I think it's like on people's bucket list. I feel like as a runner, it's like, yeah, Boston. But then when you actually get there, like, what does it take?
Yeah. A lot of good questions there, Courtney. A lot of good questions. Yeah, my name's Gabe Moreno. My God-given name is Gabriel Moreno. Most people call me Gabe. Why am I a runner? That's just like in my blood. My dad was a big runner growing up. So he would, we got a bunch of pictures of me at his races. I was born when he was in college, actually. So like they'd take me out on the running stroller on all their training runs. And I was running around the track when he was doing his 5Ks and 10Ks. So it wasn't long before he was taking me to like little road races where you get a cookie and a ribbon and let me do my thing. And one of those early memories is when like the starter like congratulated me after I didn't win the thing, but like I started and like I passed people and no one passed me back. And he was like, yo, keep that up. So yeah, once junior high school, all that stuff came around, I was like on cross country and track teams. And that was like a core part of my identity growing up. And it took a while, like after college and after grad school for me to get back into it. I thought it was like, all right, yeah, I'll just be a casual runner again. But then like pandemic hit and I got that itch to seriously train for things again. So yeah, this May will be like the 1-year anniversary of me actually training for marathons.
Wow. So wait, how did you qualify for Boston then? When did you qualify?
I qualified at the Indy Monumental. That was in November.
Right. A lot of people went down there for that. It's super flat, low key. It's not the same hype as a Chicago Marathon. I remember everybody was like, this is your last chance.
Chicago but it was like a really short time after he ran in Chicago and performed phenomenal.
Okay. Yeah, I did Chicago. That did not go well. So I was like, I know I've got more. Let me sign up for Indy. I think it was like the night after Chicago. I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. And then, had a good day.
Wow. I have to just point out your last name is Mareno. And I was a student in Chile for a time in high school. And people used to always call me Morena. Yeah. And so I just, just brought back some things.
I'm sure.
I mean, it's also like Black girl.
Yeah, no, it literally means like brown person.
Like
brown man,
brown person.
woman. Yeah. So, the credentials are there. That's
I love it. I love it. And then a cool thing, as we slowly build to the crescendo of you running to Boston, is that you end up injuring yourself during your training. Talk a little bit about that and what injury it was and how you were able to recuperate and recover from it.
Yeah. Right around February, two things happened. One, I turned 30. Two, the week after I turned 30, my knee started hurting. So that age thing too.
Well, damn.
It maybe was the 2 marathons back to back in the fall that just I was keeping it up for a while and then was just trying for too long. But I had just I think runner's knee, where just some irritation in that series of muscles and ligaments that wrap around your knee. But yeah, I had to take 4 to 5 weeks off completely. And was pretty down in the ditches with that. But yeah, I went to Optimal Performance, got connected with Caitlin, the PT over there, and she helped me after about 3 weeks into that, do some exercises and get back into it. But yeah, I couldn't run for 3 to 4 weeks. So I was just swimming a lot.
Yeah, shouts out to swimming because that's my new best friend.
Yeah, that thing's great.
Yeah, swimming's fantastic. What was your time at the Boston Marathon?
It was 2:51. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that boy was doing 6:30 the entire time. And then it was consistent. I was watching you on the tracking app and it was consistent. And I think you stopped to give somebody a hug. And so and then as soon as you started running again, it was yeah, man, you're back at 60. It was 6:30.
Yeah.
It was it's so amazing to me that you all are able to keep such a pace, such a
flying.
And it's it was flatline. If it was you would have been dead if it was your heart rate. It was so consistent. How are you able to keep a consistent pace, whether it's at that speed or even at a slow run? Because it's got to be a transferable skill.
I mean, it's a training. You train for that pace, and so after 10 to 18 weeks of that, you know what it feels like. And then
do you go by feel, or do you use your watch and stuff like that?
Well, it's a little bit of both. But yeah, there's definitely a rhythm. You find your rhythm. You're okay, yeah, this feels good right now. It feels hard, but it feels good. And I think that a lot of marathon running is having the intelligent amount of gutsiness and humbleness to say all right, 18 weeks from now, I'm going to run this pace that I've never run before in a race, and to train for that. Yeah. So that's actually a real thing.
Wow.
I love that.
Did you ghost race anyone?
Did I ghost race anyone?
Yeah. Was there anyone people you didn't was there anyone you were trying to be? Is there anyone that you were running with and you realized that they were kind of at the same pace, but you were nah, I'm going to finish before you?
Oh, not this time. Because
you're very focused on yourself.
Yeah. Because of the knee, I was I'm just happy to be here. Let's see what I can do today.
Happy to be here at a 6-minute mile pace.
Yeah, that's my celebration.
With a hurt
That's
knee.
My party pace.
Yeah, that's wild.
But that's the best I've done so far. So hoping for some good races this fall.
Awesome. So is this a personal best for you this time?
Yeah.
Are you looking to go faster than this?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
That would be nice.
What does that mean?
Simeon and I, we're very similar in a lot of ways, and he ran a 2:43, and so it feels okay, yeah, let's aim for that.
Yeah, and I mean, Simeon's 2:43 isn't just is a very significant number because he signed up for the race, under the federal states of Micronesia. So he actually broke the national record for Micronesia.
He smashed it. The record was
by 15, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That man.
So his jersey has a picture of his uncle on there, which I think is royalty in Micronesia. He was also considered, the fastest man on the island and stuff. And so he's carrying the fastest man literally on his chest while he's running the Boston Marathon and obliterates the Micronesian national record.
Respectfully,
at the Boston Marathon.
He did, utmost respect.
For his people.
Yeah.
Listen. I mean, I really need to sit down. Really need to sit down and get y'all to really like kind of like talk on camera about each of y'all's story. I know y'all spoke about it in front of 7onSundays, in front of crew when you received it, but I really think like people see how beautiful the detail and the artwork and the creativity for the jerseys are, but to hear your stories, like to hear the story of even the reason why the colors are the way they are on Simeon's jersey is amazing, because I think he gave a number, but there's quite a few people on the island who are colorblind. So that's why he picked those colors to depict the island, to depict the skin tones and everything. It's an amazing story. But, you know, getting back to you, Gabe, like what part, how let's break the race down a little bit. You got the beginning of the race. You coming up, y'all like in the athletes village, you know, what was that experience like? I kind of saw a picture with y'all kind of like sitting on the ground. Was it like a long wait before you guys started the race? Yeah,
it felt like there was this whole series of stages we had to go through before we even got to the start line. Like we had to wake up mad early, get an Uber from like 20 minutes away to like where they were dropping off gear, right? And that was like just a series of school buses that they had numbers on. You drop off your gear at the right bus, correlates with your bib, all that. Then they got us on another bus that took us 45 minutes outside of town to the athletes village, where everyone's just getting like dropped off and they're about to hang out. But you get to hang out for like 2 hours. It's not like a short amount of time. So some people are arriving like 6:45 in the morning. Some people are arriving like at 8:15 or whatever. And whatever the weather is, you got to be ready for that. Luckily, we had a like warm, sunshiny day. So we were just chilling, just like having a good time.
It looked decent.
The past has been like rain in like 20 degrees, and people are like,
wow, just sitting out there.
Yeah. But yeah, they had like an announcer, and that guy was hyped. He was like talking, you know, just one of these people who talks like every minute he can and saying like, all right, we got Morton's over here, we got Gatorade over here, porta potties over there, like shouting out the radio stations, all this stuff. And so it felt like it was the vibe of Boston the whole weekend was like, this is like the world congregating for like an exposition, right? And so that vibe was very there in the athletes village. But also like enough of a chill vibe where it's like, you're here to race, get ready to race.
Right.
But then after waiting for like a while, they start like calling you up in your waves. And then you walk like 3/4 of a mile to the start line. And like along the whole way, they got people who got like trash bags and bags for you to, you know, throw away your sweats, and then porta potties and all this stuff. So by the time you get to the start line, it feels like you're just in the middle of the street, in the middle of a small town, in the middle of nowhere. But
that's what it looked like when I was watching.
Yeah. But you know that like, that's
it's about to go down.
Yeah.
Right. Did you feel any tension? Like, was there like, cause like I always talk about my first Chicago marathon where like somehow I ended up in corral like B or A or something like that. And like the tension, the focus of the runners in that corral was like palatable. Like it was thick. So like, did you feel that, or were you just laser focused on what you needed to do?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It felt a lot like being at the start line of like a state meet, you know, where like you can tell all these people are really fast, but you know that you're there because you're also really fast. And I'd been in that space enough where I was like, okay, like I know how to deal with this. But yeah, I guess it was a little intimidating, but it was also like, they can do whatever they want. Like I'm not racing them. That's what's cool about a marathon.
Right.
There are no places that matter. Just like literally run smart, don't die, like be fast.
Literally. Yeah. Like, don't be dumb. Watch out for potholes. Like
I don't want to make it look like I'm winning the first 10 miles, because that means I'm definitely crashing the last 6.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, it was a runner in a men's professional who like, it was like his second year doing this, where he like just ran out in front of the pack, like maybe like 10 seconds in front of the pack. And you see him just going and everybody's like in the back. He's just out in front of everybody, like on the bumper of the fucking pace car, whatever. And like he did it last year and he finished in like 17th place. He did it this year and finished in like 13th place. He's an American runner. But I was like, yeah, that's just my strategy. It feels good. I can really handle the downhills, and nigga, you're not even finishing in the top 10, bro. Can you like reevaluate the strategy, bro? Like, if you want to run for fun, you can get in corral 8. Don't be up here in the beginning embarrassing us. You got all of the Kenyans behind you, like laughing at your ass.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you got to do to scratch that itch, man. Like, whatever you got to do.
What? So, well, I'm curious too. Like, take me through the weekend. What were your highlights? And like, because the race is on like Easter Monday, right? Yeah. And so, were you there since Friday? Do you like? How did you prep? And also, what activations did you go to? Because it sounded like you went to some of the Pioneer.
We
activities.
We kind of trickled in over a couple of days. Because I was meeting up with Simeon and Rosalie and Nez and everybody.
Right.
And so I got there on a Saturday night. And so Sunday morning we went to the Pioneer Shakeout. And what was interesting was it felt like everything, all these stores, like Heartbreak, Pioneers, Brooks, Tracksmith, all of them are on one street. And like that one street is like 15 minutes from the expo where you pick up your bib and all that. Okay. So there's just a bit of like shopping around. You're like, who do we want to go to? Where do we want to be on that morning? And so we picked Pioneers because Sid's family. And I'm really glad we went there because it was like the opening of his store. They were selling gear. But it felt like, all these people you pay attention to on Instagram through the year who are like crew people, like they're fast, but they've got their communities in New York and LA and London, Berlin, all that. They were there. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely like the POC crowd, right? Which felt super, super important. Like kind of going down that same street. Maybe there was a spot where that was also happening, but I didn't see it. So to find that kind of home where it's like from South Side of Chicago to Newbury Street on Boston. These are our people.
Yeah.
And also, we ran into the group from Toronto who did Escape the Shy.
I saw about that.
So that was like, hey guys, like we're out here doing the same thing, different place. Let's do our thing.
Yeah.
And eventually they had some like conversations that I couldn't stick around for. I had to go pick up my bib and all that after the shakeout run. But they led a really sweet run through Boston that showed us the sites. They curated it so that it was taking us around some of the important sites. But also had a moment to kind of like pause in the middle of it and have a kind of like meditation collectively to think about, prepare for the race, but more to like prepare for it, knowing that not only have we put in work, but like generations of people have put in work so that we could end up here. And
right.
I'm blanking on her name, the person who led that meditation.
We got it. Sid mentioned it. So it's all good.
She's a great shout out because
she is not forgotten.
Good. Because the way she framed that was very differently than you hear, than the script that people normally use to prepare for races. Normally so like, individualistic, right? Like you are a lone runner. You are doing this thing. This is on your shoulders. But for her, it felt like she was in this headspace where like, no, this is all community and you are a part of that. And you might be like a kind of product that stands alone for a moment, but don't ever forget you have that strength behind you.
You are forever tethered to your lineage.
Totally. Yeah. So, the way that Sid and his team, curated all that was really special and different in a way that still felt like it was as productive, if not more productive, than the way runners normally do things. So after that, did the expo. That was cool. Marathons, especially Boston Marathon, have this vibe of being just like these massive productions that are like well-oiled machines where you just like hop in the flow and you just follow the crowd and you get what you need to get.
Right.
Just swimming downstream.
For real. So,
I love that.
We got some dinner the night of, and got ready for the race.
Yeah, I was turning up in the club after, like post race stuff.
Oh.
Lit. Y'all was lit. I was like, wow. I was like, this is the other Coachella, okay? Y'all really
Somebody forgot to tap close friends. You feel me?
Right.
We saw some things on the public story. You feel me?
And there was stuff that we self-monitored. We were like, we can't put that on the public story. So you saw the PG-13 stuff.
Oh my God.
I know close friends was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But just going back to the race a little bit, man, was there a point during the race where it was like that sticks out to you now as like that was challenging, like that was tough?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the accumulation of things. Like everyone talks about Heartbreak Hill, right? And I think that a lot of us we got together after the race. We're like, yeah, Heartbreak was hard, but it wasn't. We were expecting something more. But it was
consistently.
Yeah, but it's just like the whole thing was like hilly, and we really needed to have like a technical confidence in running downhills. And a lot of that is like you just pick up your pace, you pick up your stride frequency, right? Which isn't that hard until you do that for 20 miles. And then like, you can't be moving as quick. So then you start pounding. And so the last 6 miles were a mix of mostly downhill, but some uphill. And that's where I was like, I'm just trying to get to the finish line because
I should have done a few more laps at Blue Bridge.
I was like, look, this is why you don't take 4 weeks off in the middle of your training cycle, because you need all those 20-mile runs.
Every single one.
Man, I love it. Amazing. I love it. It sounds beautiful. I mean, congratulations for, I know there was a point in time when you was talking about like, you was in my story. You're like, man, I just don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, or I don't know how I'm gonna race it. It might just be like I'm there kind of run and stuff like that. But to watch you, to not have a conversation with you about you making that final decision to just go out there and run it and race it, watching the journey on the app and watching your pace, watching you push, knowing where you were coming from, knowing that you injured yourself, knowing that you took so many weeks off, man. It was really, really powerful, man. And you're a graceful runner any other day, but it was fucking beautiful to see your performance. I wish I was there to see you in person, but just even watching it on this app was touching, man. It was pretty good. Keep it up. Keep it fucking going, yo. You are representing the brand well. You hear me?
Resilient. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I got to say that it, being injured was like definitely like a gift in hindsight where, it sucked to miss the training and not go in with like that optimal preparation. But, injury definitely helped me to like lean on my community and like to be vulnerable in a way that leads to strength. Like I definitely thought, I was talking to you like, oh yeah, like I probably won't be able to run it. The conversations with you and Aaron and Maya were like the thing that kept me in the game long enough to like, go to the physical therapist and find the right person and like just take it one day at a time to the point where, it was like a physical possibility to run well. But I think that like that, definitely before 7onSundays, that wouldn't have been a possibility for me. I was definitely like running on my own. And I think that like, it's when I look at like my running career and look at like, what are the measurable differences between like now and 2018 or whatever, it's not only having a community, but a community of people who are like reflecting the narrative that I come from and who can like speak into my experience. That is definitely a new kind of strength that I think helps things like this happen. So a lot of gratitude to like everyone who's kind of lifting me up throughout the whole time, and definitely want to pay that back.
That's beautiful.
That's dope. Before we move on, before we get up out of here, like for I don't know. I'm sorry, Courtney, if you have more. I just want to take this moment as a good segue to just give a shout out to the other 7 on Sunday runners who were there. Like we said, Simeon beat the Micronesia national record with 2 hours, 43 minutes, 45 seconds. Gabe came back, smashed that fucking 4-week vacation with 2 hours, 51 minutes and 28 seconds. Rosalie came through showing the 7 on Sundays women what it is with 3 hours, 41 minutes and 18 seconds, who actually, I think, did she win the Chicago 50K on the lakefront as part of her training for Boston? Like,
she did.
Yes.
She does that shit for fun.
Yes.
That 50K
as part of her training for Boston. She ran a 50K weeks before the Boston, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks. So while you were resting, she was taking out 50K.
Out there in the cold. It was not a nice day. It wasn't.
Right. No. Yeah. And then Nick, I always butcher your last name. Feimster. I'm sorry, Nick. But Nick is another gorilla runner. Oh my God. I mean, like 20, like this dude has 100-mile weeks. Like it's I don't even know how to explain Nick. Nick is a force of freaking nature. 2 hours, 48 minutes and 52 seconds, so 7 on Sundays was out there and was representing. Shouts out to Aaron and Austin, who was out there, showed out, was representing the cheer section, the Scream Tunnel. I know not a 7 on Sunday runners, but Jenny was out there. I'm sorry, I don't have her time in front of me, but I do know she broke her goal, smashed through her goal. And so Chicago was represented. So shouts out to all of the beautiful runners from the city who represented us in Boston.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like next year we're going to have to be there and really set up a whole cheer station.
Oh, yes.
Just make sure that our presence is known on another level.
Yes.
Yeah. But Gabe, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like we're going to have you on again. I feel like there's a constant need to check in with our guests because running is like an ever-changing sport for everyone. And it's something that, we're carrying through all stages of life for the most part. Even if you're not doing it, there's other seasons in life where you end up picking it back up, like you mentioned. And so I'm definitely curious to see how you kind of continue forward. Do you have any races that you're looking at for this year, other than now that Boston's done?
Yeah, I've got a bid for Chicago in October. And then, but yeah, I'm super curious about this West Side half. And so
you go to sign up?
Yeah, I might
need a bid?
Yeah, I do actually.
We can.
we got this, baby.
That's not a problem. It's whether you want to do it or not.
This, baby.
I told myself just get to Boston, figure that out, and then I'll figure out my other stuff. So that's where I am now. But
okay.
And thanks for having me on, and let's definitely reconnect and do this again soon.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, Gabe.